Welcome to Under Construction from Chadwicks, where it's all pure site talk. Yes, we like to tackle the issues that affect tradespeople both on and off site. And what a treat today. We are chatting to the champs. Yes, Shelbourne's most successful season in 18 years, and we are catching up with two of their greats. If you're a Bows fan or a Shells fan or a Cork City fan, don't worry, there's a lot in this for you. We are joined by the brilliant Mark Coyle and John O'Sullivan. Lads, ye are so welcome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for having us, yeah.
I know you have your league title in the bag, but we're working on something here with Under Construction. We're trying to get a bit of a leaderboard going on Get a Grip. John, I know your face. You're probably thinking that's quite an apt name. But lads, we're interested in grip strength, right? Honestly, you're professionals. I'm a former professional, but I don't think anyone will out-trump boys and girls working on sites when it comes to grip strength. So will we give it a bop if you're up for it? You use this, do you?
I don't use that, no.
I tell you what, we're not going to win it anyway.
I've been doing a renovation in my house, so I'm hoping this will be quite good.
There we go. John's up for
Chadwicks obviously helped me, of course.
Always plugging, John. We love it. Give it some now, right? Because we're actually going to run a leaderboard here, right?
Yeah.
And I know you're competitive, so you're going to be
first. So
do you want to go first, Mark?
I want to see what you get.
You're under construction, aren't you?
There you go. You're the main man, John. Go for it now, yeah. Go on now. Give it some. Go, John. Go, 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 go.
52.
52, we'll take it.
That's a warm-up. I do better than that.
All right. Do you want to give Mark a go and then come back to it?
Yeah, see what he gets and then I'll go again if it doesn't beat him.
52. We'll give that as a first, John.
You can't stand up now. Look at
him. You can do whatever it takes to win. Go on, Mark. Go on, Mark. Go on, Mark.
What's he get? What's he actually get?
102.
No way.
40.7.
Are you happy with those scores?
Send them to the gaffer there.
There you go.
Stronger.
You've been delighted.
Do you want to go again? Come on.
Sure, may as well, yeah.
Go on, have another pop. John, you're quite confident in your score now.
No, I'm going to go again. One more.
Are you going again as well?
We'll be here all day.
Yeah, exactly. I knew we shouldn't have brought this in. Going to be here for the week.
There we go. 51.9.
51.9.
You're only warming up. What did I get first now?
You got 52. You're still in the lead.
You need to get 60.
Go on. Get it up there, John, maybe. A body head.
59.2.
Oh, yes. Improving every time.
We have no podcast. It'll just be me and Mark doing this.
John, straight up, top of the leaderboard.
Jesus. Yeah, put me down.
There you go. We put extremes of it now. There you go.
Yeah.
Top
so
of the
set
bus.
The standard.
There we go, chasing the bus.
That's fair. I've just been doing gym all pre-season.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll beat him in leg strength.
Yeah, you would. You probably would, yeah.
John, just on it though, I can't remember a time where the League of Ireland was so vibrant. So, like last season, the only thing I can associate it with is basketball during the 80s, where you were going and there was people in the rafters. It was like, we mentioned the eyeballs watching your last game, over 400,000. For you to try to leave legacy now in the league at probably the boiling point, isn't it? Or do you feel there's more growth in the league?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, last year was probably the most competitive league there's ever been, in the League of Ireland. I think there was, Pats, there was, there was loads of other teams in the league that Derry, who had a chance. I think going into the last 2 weeks of the year, there was 4 teams who could have won it. And I can't remember the last time it was like that. And that's down to the quality of the league. That's massively improved. It's down to the publicity it's getting, loads more games on TV, and to be fair, even speaking to my dad and other people, loads of people have come away from watching, the Premier League and European football because, the League of Ireland is kind of like a bit of a throwback to the way football was and should be, fans packing out stadiums. We couldn't even get tickets to some games last year for extra tickets for family and friends because it was sold out every week. It was crazy. And
always a handy excuse for that, uncle.
Yeah, exactly.
It hasn't been on since your comfort. You know what? Go off and queue like the rest.
My family haven't asked me for tickets for 10 years, but all of a sudden we're in a league title and they want to come. Nah, I'm only joking. But it's no, it's great. And like I said, I've played most of my career in England, and everyone talks about going to England. That's the pinnacle and all this and that. But the standard in the league that I've seen is as good as most of the teams over there. It's loads of the young lads are staying in the league now until they're 18, 19, 20, and it's adding to the value, and it's great. It's fantastic, and I think there's way more scope for it to improve. I think the stadiums could probably improve, the training facilities in a lot of teams, and I'm not sure, you probably know, Mark, it's probably the first year where every team in the league's full-time for the first time in I don't know how long. So, that's growth in itself. So it's fantastic, and I can only see it going up and up at the moment.
It was something, we had Roddy Collins in with us last year, back in episode 4, but he mentioned that the infrastructure, like you mentioned, you going professional, which is absolutely vital if you're to, bring it, but also the structure you need around it. You mentioned the support staff and the manager, but also facilities. How important is that now within the league, and how much improvement does that need around the League of Ireland, Mark?
It needs a lot of improvement, to be honest. I think the main problem is probably like stadiums and pitches in terms of changing facilities or whatever, but we're no prima donnas. I can deal with the change rooms, but I think the pitches is probably the biggest thing, because obviously if you improve the pitches, you improve the quality, you improve the spectacle, more fans come and watch, so it's a nice thing to do. It's obviously going to help improve the league overall anyway. You get more revenue by more people coming, and I just think it's steps. So I think the biggest thing and the most controllable thing to change would be the pitches, and even you just have to look around, and to be honest, there's probably 2 or 3 pitches there in the league that you'd say is of a good quality standard, and that's not good enough really if we want to keep improving the league. But yeah, if you start improving them things, obviously the league improves overall.
Mark, that might seem like a kind of, you know what I mean, we want better behaviour, but like free to perform your craft, like that's vital. That's like anyone sitting down to heading out on site, you know what I mean, with shoddy hawks and trolls or whatever, your toolbox being half-assed. It is vital that you have stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I don't see why it's such a big thing. Obviously it takes revenue and money.
Of course.
But if it's sort of short-sighted looking at it like that, if you actually look at the bigger picture, it's much more beneficial for everyone involved with the league.
But Mark, just go back a little bit. Champions last year, it was incredible, to be fair, the whole journey of the league. Over 400,000 people watched the last game. Just take us back to those moments, the joy of doing it after 18 years.
Yeah, look, for us it was probably a dream season, but I think at the start of the year we sort of set out that goal, and nobody else probably gave us even a chance. But within our dressing room, led obviously by the staff, by the gaffer, that was our goal. And I think it's down to the environment he creates, the culture within the group, and people, you have to buy in, otherwise you're left behind. It's that growth environment, and the way it went then for us was, the proof is in the pudding, as they say, because we obviously went on and won it. But yeah, it was the stuff of dreams, really. And to be honest with you, it sort of feels like it was just last month.
I'm interested in that point, though, that, you know what I mean, you've been 18 years starving and now you taste success. How do you, whatever about the environment and Damien Duff, what about the players themselves? Because you know it, lads, you can be set up, but when it comes to coming out and delivering, how do you keep that drive to do, hopefully, a back-to-back?
Yeah, look, I think it comes down to your mental strength and what your motivation is, isn't it? I think that changes every year. Like obviously last year was to go and win it for the first time. Now it's about, not being one and done or whatever it may be. It's about going again and making sure, seeing how many times you can win it. It's that hunger to prove yourself again and prove the doubters wrong again, because I don't even think we're favourites this year again, even though we are the champions from last year. But that's sort of a good thing for us. We like that, having the chip on the shoulder, and I think that's when we operate at our best.
Can we chat about the moment though, John? The moment when you're crowned champions. Doing it with your buddies where you're from. It must have been really special.
Yeah, to be honest, it was more a sense of relief.
Yeah,
it was. You know yourself. It was like the work that we put in last season, the group that was put together, like you said, nobody gave us any shot to win the league, but we had that total belief within the squad. And I think even when it got down to the last 7 games, when we were still top, all that we could kept hearing was they'll fall away, they won't win. Came down to the last 3 games, people were celebrating like Rovers, like they were going to catch us, like it was just a foregone conclusion that they were just going to go and win the league. But we didn't listen to any of it. I think the last week of the season was the most excited and the most laid back week we've had all year. It was mad, and I think everyone looking in would have thought, you know, stressed and heightened.
Yeah.
Like training was the best it had been. Everyone was bouncing around the place because we just had that belief that we were going to go and do it. And like back to your question, like it didn't really sink into like a week or two after we've won the league of what we actually done. You know, it was win the league, celebrate as we did. Like it's probably too much, but celebrate, spend time with your family. You know, we had interviews, we had podcasts, we had, you know, it was the 2 weeks after was absolutely crazy, and then it kind of just then settled down, and you look at how many years it took since they last won the league and what it done for people's families, and like I went for a coffee nearly every day and fans were just coming over saying thank you. It was just, you know, it felt great, and it still does now, but it's forgotten about now. You know, if you live in your past success, you'll be soon forgot about. And you know, I look at Rovers and I look at what they've done over the last 10 years, and that's what we want. We want what they have, and we're not just going to stop for one. You know, it was great that we won it last year, but you have to move on. And like I said, it was a sense of relief, but it's forgotten about now.
Yeah. I sorry, just to go back to past experience, we were lucky enough to win a European Cup in 2006. And like that, it was absolute relief. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was just all the work paid off. And can I be honest, we're no longer bottlers. Yeah. Was the kind of mindset around our place. Yeah. But we were lucky enough we didn't win the next year, but no 08 we won again. And that, lads, I can't tell you the joy of that one, because that is pure joy. Yeah. Lads, I'm so interested in your road to get to where you got. John, you mentioned it, off to England when you were 15. Mark, you came down from Donegal. You might just take us through that early stage, because they're both very different avenues to meet up in the same dressing room. John, I'll go to you first. Just
like a group of misfits, coming together, literally. Now, listen, like I said, I played for Belvedere in you know, Fairview Park, so those pitches were always terrible, so used to them. But obviously, to jump down Mark said, like, the pitches do need to improve. Obviously, I'm only joking there, but you know, I grew up in Summerhill in town, went to England at 15, played my career across multiple teams, like more clubs than Tiger Woods.
And he mentions it enough.
Yeah, I mentioned it a lot. Only as a joke. No, but I played my whole career over there, and like I said, I moved home 3 years ago and signed for a team that we can't mention. Now, I signed for Bowes, didn't go well. The manager had always took an interest in me, and he, you know, I was, like I said, I say it all the time, but you know, I was wrote off in Ireland as, you know, went to England. How did he even play over there? A bit of a flop. And the manager always, you know, when I spoke to him, he said, you know, you don't go to England for that long and become a bad player in one season. So he said, come to us, get yourself fit, and you know, I'll get the best out of you. And like I said, if you speak to the manager, as Marky, he'll tell you his ambition and his desire to win is exactly aligned to what my beliefs have been my whole life. I've based my whole career in football on just winning. You know, I couldn't care if I had one pass and, you know, I'd play 1 minute and we win. You know, I've just always been like that since I grew up in town and played on the streets. You know, it's just always how I've been, and the manager's the exact same. He'll do anything to win. And as soon as he mentioned that to me, it was a no-brainer to sign. And to be fair to Marky and the lads, they've been the most welcoming group. Marky, I tell you, he probably hated me for the first 4 weeks he met me.
That's where you were coming from.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
You walk in from Bowes.
You can take me up the wrong way at the start.
Did you bring the gear bag in?
I burnt that when I... I'm only joking. Don't put that in.
Don't worry, they'd say the same about you. That's a good thing about rivalries.
That's buried out the back garden in a hole somewhere. No, listen, like I said, the boys welcome me. I can say that confidently. I've been there a year. I think I have friends for life from that dressing room. And especially the year we all share a bond that, you know, never be forgotten. Like, even if Mark moves back to Donegal and when he's finished playing, and no doubt he'll have a great career. He's a great captain as well, and I'll probably be finished before he's finished, being a bit older. But for the rest of our lives, anytime we meet each other or see each other, we'll always have that special year we had last year. So it's been great. I love it there, and I love everything about the club and Shells. It's like home to me. Like, sure, I only grew up down the road as well. So
that is great. Can you tell me though, for a young man, you were 15 heading to England. Yeah. We don't see that as much now. Is that obviously there's different reasons with Brexit and the ability for English teams, but it must be great for our clubs now to not lose you.
Yeah, that's why I think the league's improved a lot more as well, is that when I was younger, at 15 and 16, you went to, you done your junior cert and then you went off to England and you trained with their academy and you had all the top facilities. Now, that was great, but for the League of Ireland, it wasn't, because that means you lost all your young players before anyone got a chance to see them. So that's a massive reason why the league has improved, because they have to wait till they're 18, 19, 20 to go away, and the clubs are getting the money now for the players going abroad, and it's just making the league even stronger.
Just tell me about the 15-year-old heading over, though. You know what I mean? That must have been nerve-wracking. You're like,
it was
how do you manage that? Even just managing your own finances, looking after digs, stuff like that. The stuff that, I have a 14-year-old. I couldn't think of her in a year.
No, and I have a son now, a little fella, and I would never let him go away at 15. But that was just the norm back then. My mum was quite young herself, and single parent, obviously. I got offered a contract that money-wise, financially, family-wise, couldn't say no to, and I loved it. I went over there. They threw me in the digs with all the 18, 19-year-olds, and I just loved it. I signed for Blackburn, and if you've seen Blackburn's facilities, I walked in, they had an indoor dome, they had a swimming pool, they had 50 pitches, they were Premier League at the time. I got to go to all the matches and be a ball boy. It was like a dream come true, but in hindsight, and my mum says it today, that she wished she kept me until I'd done my leaving and was a bit older, because, it's not right for clubs to be plucking players at that age. But for me, I forged a career for myself, so it was the right decision.
It probably speeded up your development.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But do you feel there's a part of it that you lost a bit too? You know what I mean? The 15-year-old young fella should be knocking around with his own buddies,
drinking down the lane, trying to chase girls, basically.
all the good fun, but that side of it too.
No, I did miss all that. No, I did, but I didn't really care. I just loved football, and it was my way out of the life that we grew up in as well. So I didn't really care. Obviously, when they were going to Barcode and I was over there sleeping in digs, my mates would ring me and I'd be raging, saying about how many girls they kissed and all. But no, listen, it was...
You wouldn't have got in anyway.
No, exactly.
Yes, exactly. We go.
I settled down quite young with my partner anyway, so it's okay. No, listen, it did hurt a bit, but when I seen the life I could have and the games that I had played in, it outweighed the sad part about missing things, basically, in my mind.
John, do you think it's better, this path now?
Yeah, 100%. No doubt in my mind. No one should leave home at 15 away from their family. And for me, education is more important to have than your sport. You should have both, in my opinion, especially now that I'm older and I'm...
Well, you're not that old. How old?
No, I'm 32 in September, but as in, education-wise for the after of your career and stuff, I think it's a big thing. And like I said, I was a boy going away and I had to grow up quite quickly. Yeah,
which I'm looking forward to chatting about the afterlife and the plans for it. But Mark, just for you, total different route. Home in Donegal. How does that come about? Of course, Donegal, our greatest are from there, Packy and Shea. Yeah. How come he didn't end up being a keeper?
There's an obvious thing for that.
That's true.
The fact that I'm 5'9".
Hands like shovels.
I'm a bit small for it.
But no, your route was different though, Mark.
Yeah, totally different. I think when I was younger, obviously, I'd say football was my first love, and my dad was a big football man, so that was always the case. But Gaelic was also a massive part of my life growing up. I remember when I was younger, obviously, I had a trial with Aston Villa, and nothing ever came of it. And I think after that, you sort of nearly try too hard, or you think you're putting in the effort, but you're not. You maybe are fooling yourself a bit when I look back. But I sort of fell out of love, and then I went and played Gaelic for... obviously my club, but then I was playing for the Donegal Minors and the 21s and I had a year in the senior panel. And after that year in the senior panel, I sort of had this realisation that maybe I wasn't built for Gaelic, and I was injured a lot. But I obviously did my degree. I went to Galway for 4 years, did medical science, and that's probably my mum's side of me, where she had a lot of, education, how to do my leaving cert, how to do this, how to do that, which I'm obviously very thankful now that I have that degree and I'm here playing now something that I love, but I also have that to go back to. But then I went back and played football for Finn Harps after that year with the Gaelic, where I sort of had the realisation, but I realised that I had to do so much more off the pitch in terms of my physicality, fitness, mental strength even. I think that was a massive part of what helped me, get here, to be honest. And then I just had a good year at Finn Harps, and it was the following year, obviously, Shells came up to the league and the manager took over, and when he texts you, I don't think there's many people saying no to him, to be honest with you. I think my mum and dad were nearly more excited that he was texting me, because we obviously know that he was an Irish legend and they grew up watching him as well. But yeah, it was an easy decision for me to come down here, and then it was just about embracing the challenge, and sort of you learn so much from him, and obviously he's been over there, done it. Joey the same, Maka, they've all had successful careers, and when you come into that culture, it was a bit daunting at first, but I just bought in.
Mark, how important is it though that the league reflects the whole country? Like, there was a worry there for a while that there was, 4 teams in Dublin and they were just excelling away. Whereas what was good probably about last year is it was so competitive from everyone around. And I know as a Cork man myself, Cork City being in it this year, Waterford, there's great excitement because it's national now.
Yeah, definitely. When I look at my old club in Donegal, things are definitely much more difficult in terms of recruiting players for teams that are outside of Dublin, obviously with the attraction of Dublin alone, and the fact then too travelling plays a huge aspect in it when players are picking, because to be honest with you, when you have so many games in Dublin, they're more or less like home games. They might be away, but you're back home within 20 minutes. While when I was playing for Finn Harps, I was obviously working at the time, took a half day on a Friday, got on the bus at 12:30, and then went for 3 hours down to Dublin, or I could have been going to the day off before to go to Cork and stay over that night, so I had 2 days off work. Them sort of things when you're part-time play a huge role in it too. You're not full-time. So it is extremely important that the teams outside of Dublin obviously improve, but I think it's going to be very difficult, and it comes down to obviously logistics and the money as well. As I said, part-time's not ideal for people. It's not going to attract people. But it's so important how it's improved and how it develops. I'm not too sure, because it is what it is. But I do think it's great for this year that Cork are back up. It's obviously a huge club. Galway are there. Like, it is great having them teams there, and you actually look forward to when you are in them away trips, and yourself getting on the bus and going with the boys, and then when you get a victory and you're travelling back, there's nothing better, I don't think, than that. But yeah, look, it's great for the league, and hopefully that them clubs can keep improving and get that right.
Absolutely, because you can imagine for girls and boys in Galway there, you coming into town, you know what I mean, and competitive games, and then, John, you've been there, you want to be out there. If you see those kind of competitive matches, it gives you that drive to get out there. Mark mentioned an interesting point, because I agree with you. You can't do it part-time. People have no knowledge of, because everyone sees the professional life of a sports person as a jolly, but they've no idea the graft and the work that has to go into that. John, can you give us a bit of context of, like, how does the day look? Mark gave us an example there of finishing work early to leg it and get the bus. But how's the day look now?
Yeah, no, listen, when you're professional, football is your life. It's like everything. It's sad to say, and it's sometimes it can come across quite harsh, but football comes before everything. Your birthdays, weddings, celebrations, and all. Football always comes first. It has to be that way, or you won't succeed. But our day today is, it's you come in, you train, you do your gym, you go home, you rest, you eat right. You do that all week, all leading up to your game on Friday. There's no enjoying yourself really Monday. Obviously, you go for your coffees, or we have a kids club on a Wednesday now. Mark just comes, even though he doesn't have kids. Sometimes, nah, I'm only talking. He's come in once or twice.
There he is. He's a big fan of Bluey.
They sent me into the soft play, and
there you go.
After them.
No, we do.
I'd say I'll head off for a coffee. Cheers, Mark. See you in half an hour.
Yeah, he would as
well.
A few nappies. He wouldn't mind that. To be fair,
I think it's an important. I think that's reason why we actually went and did what we did last year. It's 100%. We're that sort of group. We're close off the pitch just as much as we are on it, and we're happy to call each other out, but we're also there to dig each other out then outside of the pitch. Yeah,
so we'd be arguing on a Tuesday and training, and then Wednesday you go for a coffee and meet up, and just forgot about we were that kind of group, and then you play on a Friday and hopefully you win, and then you do your recovery Saturday, and the only real time you have off in a week would be the Sunday. we said the lads would go, but Mark would obviously sometimes go home to Donegal, and you know, Paddy would go back to Waterford or to Mayo or somewhere. And you probably have 24 hours in a week to actually go home and spend a full day with your family, you know. So it's a lot physically, but it's probably the most hardest mentally. You know yourself how much mental. Like when I lose a game on a Friday and I've played, I don't talk to me till Monday, you know, and it affects my partner. Does be like, she'll look at the results and go, oh Jesus, no, he's going to be in a bad mood now until Monday. But that's just all I've ever known. And if you're not competing that way, you're not winning, in my opinion. And it's not probably not right. And like, I have a little man now, and I try my best on a Saturday to just, you know, forget about it. I put a happy, brave face on and smile. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, if we could have just done that in the game or that in the game. But, you know, we get enough break in the off season to you know, forget about it, like 5-6 weeks. Just have that time with your friends and family. And, you know, it's a short career. It doesn't last forever. And you have hopefully the rest of your life to enjoy all the other aspects, you know.
Absolutely. And you're doing it because you love it. And it's... But you mentioned the other people around you. They have to put up with the sacrifices, don't they? Like, just, I remember my own case, like we would be doing conditioning games at, say, 9 o'clock, and I knew I had to eat before I'd feed my kids. And like a buddy of mine stayed over, and they were like, he is a ruthless. Yeah. Like, look at that. But
selfish, they'd say.
But there's Mark, there's loads of sacrifices that go in that people don't, whatever about ye, but outside of your environment, your friends, your family, you getting only home once a week.
Yeah, look, I think they do play a huge part, and they make so many sacrifices as well. But yeah, you're right. You are so selfish, and sometimes when you catch yourself, you're like, "Oh wow, I can't believe I did that." You know. But at the time, you're just so focused on what really matters at that time, and you sort of forget about everybody else, and you're just so selfish. And then it's only in times in hindsight you're like, oh, that I probably shouldn't have done that or whatever. But I think they have to be, your partner, your family, or they have to be understanding in a way, because at the end of the day you're living your dream, you're doing whatever it is. And as he says, it's a short career, so you want to get as much out of it as you can. And I think if you read any autobiographies, listen to any successful people, they had to do that. Yeah. So that's, in a way, it's nearly the blueprint. It is. So you have to do it, so they have to be understanding of it, but it doesn't make it easy for them. No. It doesn't make it easy for us as athletes either, you know. There is a lot of times where it causes aggro, but at the end of the day, they want to see you do well too. So I think you're lucky when you have people around you that are like that.
John, you mentioned something there I thought was really interesting, that the environment you have, that you can choose someone in a session and then go, right, let's, you know what I mean, let's get a coffee or let's hang around. That is quite unique. Personally, I see it around good environments, that you can be so selfless, that you care about your teammates so much that you're going to tell them the truth, even if it hurts. Tell us a little bit about that in your environment.
No, listen, I've lucky enough to share many dressing rooms, and I can tell you straightforward that the best ones and the most successful ones I've been in, where it's got heated, you know. Sometimes I've had fights in training back in the day with my best friends, like, you know, there's been punches thrown, and it's all down to wanting to be successful. It's never, ever, ever personal, ever. And if it is personal, you shouldn't be in the dressing room, first of all. You know, if you're giving out to someone just for the sake of it, or just, you know, for that reason, then I don't think that's the right reason. But if you're doing it genuinely from a place of, you know, we need more out of him, you know, he's a younger lad, or, you know, he's not giving this group as much as he can, you know, as a senior pro and as a player in my career, I always think it's you should be that person to be able to probe people, you know. It shouldn't just be the manager, you know, constantly, or the staff being the ones to probe the players. And I think you probably know yourself, you've probably been in dressing rooms, and the most successful ones you've been in is where you could argue with your friend, you know, you should attract him back, or your man's at the scorn, and you can raise your voice and sometimes get hold of each other, and then the next day it's you're laughing and joking, or sometimes it's 10 minutes later in the dressing room and everyone's slagging the two of you and you're just laughing and joking. And we had a bit of that, I think, in our team last year, where, you know, lots of heads have gone during the year because we were all just rowing. You know, me and Mark could argue each other every day in training if we wanted to, but it's all for the same purpose of we wanted to win. Yeah. You know, it was in our dressing room, it was never for, I don't think anyway, for egos or for for the sake of it. It was all for the purpose of, we wanted to win. And sometimes you have to let that frustration out to let the group know that it needed a bit more. And we definitely have that group in the dressing room. If you do anything stupid or you slip up in our dressing room, everyone's down your throat, just either slagging you or getting on your back. So I'm probably the worst as well.
The classic Irish way of sorting everything out.
Each other.
Nobody can get too big for their boots.
No.
Of course.
No, 100%.
Mark, just from a senior leadership point of view then, how do you manage that for younger players coming into that environment? So if you're going to have that kind of open appraisal, that you don't drown them with, you know what I mean, because they're green shoots. You want to bring them on, but maybe, John going head first for one of them could pretty much dent their confidence. Or is it, you know what I mean, it's like a building site. It's big boy pants on, shape up or get out.
Look, there's definitely a bit of that, shape up or get out. But I think that was probably one of the biggest things I learned last year as my first year as captain, that it's how you approach certain players. You obviously, everybody knows it. Like, it's certain people need the arm around the shoulder. Certain people need that bollocking. I think I'm pretty decent at it at times. But obviously there's times where I lose my temper, and but it's straight after I would go up and say, "Oh, my order" or whatever. But there's certain people that you have to approach different ways. As you said, young lads, it's more about encouragement, giving them pointers here or there, and then it's probably more your senior lads that that can take it. And you might I might go at John, but it might be to get the whole group going.
Yeah.
Where I know he can take it and he'll give it back to me.
Yeah.
And it's that sort of thing. It's in a way, it's nearly like mind games at times.
No, I get that. It's quite incredible leadership out of you. I've seen it firsthand with the kind of greats in our game. I always noticed they'd ask the stupid question. You know what I mean? Something they know inside out, and they're not asking it for them. They're asking it for the academy young fella or your boy or girl on the back of the room that's shitting themselves to put their hand up. And I think it says an awful lot about your leadership within your group that you can spot stuff like that. But it all drips down from the roof, lads, doesn't it? And when you put someone like Damien Duff in place, just tell us about the effect he has. I know it's always nervy chatting about the manager, but we his legacy in Irish soccer is secure. But this is an unbelievable step by him, and just maybe give us, John, a bit of insight into even your own personal relationship with him.
He just dedicates his life to it. He is football first. He goes home, he probably watches every single minute of every game. He probably knows every pass I've done in the last 10 years. He can reference anything, and he's so intense. He's so, I don't think since I've been there, Mark's been winning 3 years, he's ever come in and just been chilled or just been like, right, we'll have an off day today. We'll let the lads just enjoy themselves today. And not in a bad way, but, we'll let them just take their foot off the pedal today a little bit. It's just every day, even if training's light, we're doing something in the meeting room or, he thinks of something that we can do as a group or there's always something new. He is big on, he knows that he has to evolve every season. He's big on that, but to be honest, he's just a good person. I get on great with him. I've had a couple clashes with him, and I generally think that's just because we're both want to win. We're both have that ingrained in us. He's a good person, and he's a great manager. And like I said, in my career, I don't think I'd like to, play for any other manager now between now and when I do decide to hang up the boots, because I just know that what he's doing at Shells is better than what everyone else is doing. And it's not just him, it's his staff as well, like Joey, Davey, Mel, Rory, Skins. They're just great group of people. And I could pick up my phone now if I was in any situation, and I know I have 5-6 people there that would have my back and be there for me. And I've had loads of managers in my career who have been great tactical and great managers, but I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. And, for whatever reason... Do
you want to name any of them? I'm joking.
I might need a job in a few years, so I'll keep... I'll name one or two. Nah, I'm joking. No, but he's great. He's a top man. He's a bit... he's a bit mad, but as he said to me
about
myself, he goes, who isn't a little bit mad?
Yeah.
All the best ones are. So listen, he's top drawing. Like I said, Mark, he knows more about him than me.
Mark, you've seen it firsthand, probably the transition in all that, but just something John said there, that the support staff around you, because they're all brilliant as well, you can kind of take away from someone, but brilliant leaders put excellent people around him that challenge him, and that's what he's done there, isn't he? He's surrounded himself with a group that will take him to task every time.
He'd say that himself when he first came in. He didn't have probably the first idea really of League Ireland and the players in it, so that's why he got the likes of Joey in, who obviously played in it, Maka, all these players, Skins, they all played in it, so we had them in place. And yeah, you're right that he had them about them to challenge him and point them in the right direction. And as you said, great leaders do that, and that's what he does with us as well. He puts demands on us, puts us in the position to do it ourselves and then improve ourselves and obviously help him. He can read a room very well. There was times last year when, things probably weren't going well for us when we had that sticky patch, and all the players are probably thinking, oh, we don't need to see the game for Friday. And I remember he came in one day and we watched Only Fools and Horses. And it was,
never a good one when you go back out. How was the review? Yeah, it was great. We watched Rodney and Del Boy for
the Chandelier episode.
It's a classic.
It's classic. Like, and but it just sort of took the edge off, and then we went out and trained well, and we went about our business.
You've all worked with different managers in your time, though. How does he, how's he different? Because I suppose we look at his playing career and know to step into management. An awful lot of people can think, yeah, but it's a decent player, so it's easy for him to transition that. It's not. It's a whole world apart, isn't it? It's a total different skill set.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's his biggest thing is his demands that he puts on us is so high, but you have to buy him because he's doing the exact same himself. Like the stuff he's doing himself, he's working 24/7, putting the demands, expecting high standards day in, day out from himself. But it's them high standards that he puts on us, and we have to reach them day in, day out, that actually improve us as players, as a team, and has ultimately drove us to where we are, mentally, physically, whatever it may be. That's the thing, that you have to get there or you're left behind. And it's that sort of, I don't know, it's like a balance of love but also cutthroat.
Yeah. Where
you have to get there or you're left behind. But also that to get that love, and you want to do it for him,
Yeah.
Like I would say everybody in the dressing room would run through a brick wall for him. Right. I know that. And he's got that. But as you said, it's such a different thing from a player. And I remember seeing somebody who played with him at Blackburn or somewhere, couldn't believe he's actually a manager in the way he is, because obviously he was very quiet or has kept himself to himself as a player, but he obviously was learning from the best, Mourinho's, whatever it may be, and he's just taking that, but he's authentic with what he does himself.
Just his playing career, lads, though, when you look back at that, just for credibility in the room, what he's done, when he speaks to you, that he's gone to the well, you know what I mean? He's asking you nothing that he wouldn't do himself or has done himself.
One of the main reasons why I signed for Blackburn was they had the likes of Damien Duff and Stephen Reid and I think Keith Tracy was there. They had a big Irish contingency, and to be honest, I don't think the young boys, especially in the team or around the league, realise how much of a top player he actually was. I think they kind of just know him now as Damien Duff, the manager of Shells.
Wow.
Like I know everybody knows he had a career, but like if you actually look back on what he's done, like in his footballing career, it's as an Irishman and as a, everyone just talks about Roy Keane and Man United, but what he's actually done for Ireland, for Chelsea and for Blackburn, even Newcastle, everywhere he's been, Fulham, like it's phenomenal. Like it's what every kid would dream of, and there's no doubt where he's used that into his managerial career, but I think the biggest thing is that he's just never content with what he's done as well. I can see that as a player. I reckon when he won that Premier League, I don't know if he's won 2 Premier League titles yet. I reckon when he won the first one, he probably just forgot about it and was like, we need to win the next one. Because that's what he's like with us. I don't think he's ever content with what we've done, Obviously he's proud and he's of what he's achieved, I'd imagine so, but he's probably like that where you won't actually realise and reflect on what he's done because he's not finished yet. He's still motoring as a manager. He's still motoring as our leader and our, you know, driver of our ship. So I you know, it's, as a football career, like my dad would say, like Marky said when he was texting me, my man, I was like, oh, what's he saying? You know, they just see him as, you know, that Irish legend. So, you know, he's asking me to ask him questions about when he played for Mourinho and stuff, and I'm like, leave me alone. Like, I'm not going to do that. So, no, it's great. And what a player, and what a man as well. Yeah.
How do you manage that when you bring a few of your buddies or your family to the match and he walks in and he's the boss for you, but like when he's the duffer, and like how do you stop your own lads from making clowns of themselves?
I don't. You just let them do it.
I would have words with my family before, so don't be embarrassing me. I've actually done it numerous times.
Yeah.
But like, that's probably another aspect. I mean, where he's so great with us that he'll take time out to meet your family, greet them.
Yeah.
He's met all my family that came to the games, like, and he's just so nice with them, just normal. So it's a credit to him. And there's times where he sent actual messages to my family that I didn't know. You know, he might have got, if they got news or whatever it may be.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so like, there's that side of him too, where he is real. He, in a way, he does love you, but he just demands and expects so much of you that sometimes you might think he doesn't. But
Mark,
deep
you've
down,
nailed it there. Like, that's love, man, isn't it? To care so much about you, to be caring of your family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In an indirect way that he doesn't care if that doesn't get back to you. You know what I mean?
Oh, look, I would tell them, my mum obviously got breast cancer last year, not 2 years ago, I can't even mind now, but whatever it was, said he went out of his way to text her to say, we'll look after me. And I didn't know, and then my mum just told me, and I was just like, sort of blown away by it, and it just makes you want to do even more for him, like it's, in a way he probably knows he's going to get that, but he still doesn't have to do it, like, and he's doing it out of the genuineness that he cares.
Yeah.
And he cares probably about my mother and making sure that she's all right and things like that. So when you have that, it's a special thing.
You can't put that on.
No.
You got to be that person, don't you? You like that's
just who he is.
Yeah. That is incredible. That really is. How's your mum doing?
Yeah, no, she's doing great now, yeah. To be fair there, yeah, she's flying. And
she's back walking into the family room giving it the, where's the duffer?
Yeah. It's got back to the stage now where
she takes him all the time now.
You can fall out with her again and you don't feel the bad.
Are you coming up to us? Bring milk. Brilliant.
What's up? She takes him all the time.
Delighted to hear that. Honestly, really am thrilled. Chat to us, lads. I can't believe there's been a shift in mindset or something, because both of you mentioned it over the course of our chat, the importance of education and the afterlife. And that used to probably be seen as, we'll worry about it later. But you're quite conscious of the fact that this is a great time in your lives, but it will come to an end. And I suppose the question is how you're preparing for it, John.
Oh, the lads always slag me all the time when I'm doing emails.
He'll be plugging
after the game.
This is your window to plug it, and I'm not going to do it twice.
Water.
Yeah, no, listen, I a couple of years ago, in England, I had so much free time. Footballers have so much free time, and up until I was like 26, you'd just be on the PlayStation or, just gambling or whatever you'd be doing. I don't know, anything. You could be, whatever, and going out drinking, and just had so much free time, and I was like, I should be doing something here. So I'd done a couple of courses, psychology one and psychology with children, and another one, and then one of my best mates, Mark, Ralph, who I chat to, probably my missus says more than I speak to her at this stage, I'm always on my phone. Literally, she was like, you've mentioned him on this and not mentioned her. Sorry, Sarah. But we started up a canned water business, still and sparkling, 3 years ago, me, Mark, and his brother Connor, who's a designer. And we do.
What's the water's name? Just in case.
Well canned water.
Well canned water. If anyone wants to.
I'll drop some in for the podcast.
There you go.
I should have bought some in.
No. We're all happy.
Here we go.
We're still waiting on some free ones.
It's surely all over the dressing room, is it?
In there because they're just going to slag it when I bring it in. That's why.
Well, you'll get the honest appraisal.
No.
Yeah. Oh, this water tastes great.
Yeah. Well,
they all say money laundering is a fake business.
Jeez, easy. We're not getting into that. There's the disclaimer flashing somewhere.
What a joke. Obviously not. No, it's gone great. We're on sale in BWG, like loads of shops, Cisco. We're in America at the moment.
Wow.
We got listed, and we're actually currently doing a round of investment if anyone's interested. So we have our own spring, and we have our own warehouse and production facility, and that takes. And now back to your point is that, like, I just wanted this. I have so much time, and I have a little man now where it's you have to think for your future, and you have to, and Mark said there, the sacrifice our family make. My partner, you know, I wouldn't be here to, like, you know, half the person I am today without she moved to England with me and stuck by me and all that stuff, and she backed me with my business stuff as well, you know, and it took a lot of time and hours away from her and the little man, you know. There was evenings I was there till 12 o'clock at night driving a forklift, you know, just helping the production team out, and it's going great. It's going great, and hopefully it can keep growing and it'll be a natural transition into that.
Well, the lads in Chadwicks will be delighted to hear you're handy with a forklift. Honestly, you're going on site in the next few weeks.
I look good in the hard hat as well. So,
Mark, what about you? What are the plans for afterwards, or are you putting a focus on education while you're in the time? Because it's a difficult balancing act, isn't it? There is time, of course, but like if you're out till 12 o'clock at night,
not anymore. Just in case the gaffer's listening.
No, I know that. I know, but the point I'm trying to make is the balancing act in it. What's your plan for life after sport?
Yeah, well, obviously I was lucky that I did my 4 years in Galway and did medical science. I was actually working in that for 2 years before I came to Shells. So I have that, obviously. Yeah. But I think when you come into an environment that I'm in like now, I've obviously done my coaching badges. I've done the B licence there. I think football will be something that I would like to stay in, you know. And I'm also big into my fitness and things like that. So you're probably looking at avenues like that. But I think that the fact that I always have that medical science degree now in the back pocket, it's something that I can always fall back on. Yeah. I think it's just about, for me now, you know, at the minute, I'd say my full focus is on football and making sure that I can be the best I can be and making sure that we do the best we can do.
But some of my greatest teammates have come from overseas, come from different places, and what they left in it was more important than what than what was there. And I think they change it forever then, and they actually push it out and make it bigger. Yeah, which is
definitely. I think when I go back home, anyway, the amount of people now that follow Shells in a way is. I actually can't believe it at times, you know, it baffles me. And I'd say too, it came with the fact that who my manager is and the fact we went and won the league last year. But when you go back sometimes, you're like, it baffles me that people come up to me and say, oh, Shells this, Shells that. And the amount of people that chat to my mum and dad at work asking how I'm getting on and things like that. It's lovely to see. And as you said, it sort of creates that, you know, it's bigger. And it's reached on a goal, obviously. And I'm always extremely proud of that. And it's something that is another motivating and driving factor for me.
There's winning the league, there's the duffer, but there's also that the kit is banging. It does help that. And Chadwicks been on the front, lads, this year, first year of Chadwick sponsorship. Always happens is everyone on to get like supplies. Oh, you know the lads in Chadwicks. Will you get us sorted out with a kitchen or the bathroom?
I think I was the one asking for the stuff this year. No,
that's all right.
No, it's great. The kit's lovely, and I think the blue one only just came out as well, didn't it? And that's getting great response, and it's lovely.
And I do the sponsor actually looks nice. Lovely on it. Yeah. Suits it,
But how important is that, Mark, as well, that we're getting like people like Chadwicks are getting involved in the league, that they're, you know what I mean, front and centre. Like you chat about the badge that you represent them, but it's your shirt. And
I was actually thinking about that coming in. That's how big Chadwicks are, and now they're involved with Shells. Like, it's huge for the club. It's a bonus for them, but it's also great for the league that people like Chadwicks are taking an interest in the league, and hopefully it just keeps helping it to grow, and that benefits us as players. So selfishly, we obviously want that, and hopefully long may it continue.
Yeah. Have to ask you though, the other two playing in the Aviva, did you not get an invite or something? Like, where do you stand on that?
I've never gone and watched that.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment on it. But
once again, they just leave us out of things. Yeah. You know, it's another season where we're not favourites and they can write us off again, so it'll suit our narrative.
But it is important, like just chatting from the nuts and bolts. Revenue is important. Yeah. Having a big gig like that for both of them does give them a massive advantage.
Yeah, look, and I would say maybe it's something we have to look at ourselves and how they got that, you know, as a club. How did they manage to get that above us after us winning the league and things like that? But you're right, yeah, it does. It gives them an advantage in certain ways, but at the end of the day, it's down to what we do on the pitch. And that's what we have to focus on for that stuff. I think it's the people above us and within the club that have to look at that.
Yeah, that rivalry is incredible, isn't it? The Dublin rivalry in soccer, you know what I mean? That it's tribal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like,
can't walk. You just, even when you're walking around the street after playing in one of the games, it's so important. Like, you know, it's
I actually have a good story. I was going for a coffee, I think, before a Bows game one time, and there was a young fella, I would say about 12, 13 outside, and sometimes you get them to come up and you're nearly embarrassed, and they came up and they came to shake my hand, and then he pulled it away. He just goes, "Hope you lose tonight."
Whoa.
That's a nice encounter. I get worse than that.
It was funny at the time where you're just like, they're just everywhere. But I think it's the games you really look forward to, really. The atmospheres, the bite. They're nearly like a different game of football, to be honest with you, to a different game, a normal game. It's just got that edge, and it's the ones that every player wants to play in.
Can't catch your breath for the first 15 minutes. Can you? It's just hectic. The fans obviously, of course, bouncing.
I'd say it's the same what you went through with Munster Leinster. You know, the noise. Sometimes you're trying to tell somebody and they can't hear you. And things like that. Like it's. But that's the stuff that when you're growing up, that's what you want. That's what you watched and you wanted to play in. So to be able to play in it now, you're very grateful.
Is there one rivalry that's bigger than the others? Is there one of them, or maybe it's different for both of you?
For our personal ones?
Yeah, personal ones.
Obviously, I love when we beat Bows.
Yeah.
That gives me an extra bounce because there's a personal thing there, and I've had and get a lot of abuse from them, but this is never, forget about that. If you live in the past, you get dragged behind, it drags you back, and I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I love the Bows. The Rovers game, to be honest, Tala, going there, beating them or playing them, the pitch is like you said, the stadium, the pitch, that's the level you want every team to be at, is Tala.
Yeah.
And playing there, it's all, that's going to be the best football inside, as in on the day he's going to win the game, or, there's no excuses on the day in Tala, so that's always one of the best ones.
Mark, is the one that, when the fixtures come out, that you see it, you know what I mean, and just go, oh, I can't wait. You know what I mean? I'm sharpening my blade for that one.
Rovers will be up there,
And Harps, just so you can stay at home.
There you go, exactly. Bring you all back in.
I think all the Dublin derbies, but Rovers and Bows would be a big one. But Pats, we've had a proper rivalry with Pats now recently, and they're a really good side, and it's another great place to play is Richmond, but also having them at Tulka. There's always drama, it seems, especially last year. You had 2 games where there were 2 late winners in. But I, obviously being from Donegal, I also probably enjoy playing Derry. Just with that rivalry there, for me, probably it's more of a personal thing than actual clubs. But look, when you get one over on them, it's great. But
there's also buy-in for each other then. When you're going up against Bows, that means an awful lot to John, and the exact same with Derry.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that comes back to how close probably we are as a team and how we actually get to know people. I think that's another important aspect of, them team bonding things where you actually ask questions about each other, but you obviously just know that about John anyway. But when you get to know people on a deeper level, you know what motivates them, and you know what drives them, and you want to help them and you want to dig in for them. So yes, it's definitely an aspect of the games.
You're in it. You're at the coalface now. Someone that's exciting within the league that we probably haven't heard about yet. Some young talent coming through that ye feel, he's a little bit different, or this person could light up the league before we even kick a ball, or someone you're excited to within the league, or even in your own environment.
For me, I'm excited to see Meepo this year. We've brought in. He's a young talent, and he's obviously went across the water at a younger age, but he's back here now and he's looking to probably bounce back and go back over the water. But I'm excited to see how he goes this year. He's looked a real talent in training and the games in pre-season, a real live wire. So hopefully he can do the business this year for us.
Lads, thanks so much for joining us on Under Construction. Really appreciate it. The very best of luck for the season ahead. Personally, I hope you have a massive one. Obviously a Cork City fan, so I won't be hoping you ramp home in any way. But continued success, lads. You're getting out what you're putting in. And I know you've brilliant structures in place, but it doesn't happen unless everyone buys in, and that's certainly what you've got. Congrats on last year, but now they're coming, don't you? And just want to wish you the very best, and thanks a million for joining us on Under Construction today.
Thanks very much for having us.
That's it for this episode of Under Construction, with thanks to Chadwicks. A massive thank you to you for listening. Also to our fantastic guests. If you'd like to subscribe or follow, we'd really appreciate it. Or you can hit the like button. See you next time.